Afternoon, I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, and I came out here today. I wanted to do a demonstration on this new thing that we're working on at the Pathfinder School, and I just got pretty much my 5-piece kit out here with a little bit of redundancy. And we've come up with a new blanket pin idea for the wool blanket. I've showed you blanket pins in the past on my videos about one blanket tricks. And Rob Simpson from the Canteen Shop and I got to talking one day, and he was like, man, it'd be really cool if you could make a fire striker on a blanket pin. So I put that idea in the back of my mind. Had it back here for about a year now, and I decided to pull it out and talk to a blacksmith I know, see what he could do with it. And the end result basically is, this is the large size, and it's basically a blanket pin with a fire striker on one side. So I thought what I'd do today is I would go ahead and show you guys this thing, and I would also do a little bit of a demonstration with it as far as see how it works. And we'll first start a fire with it, and then we'll set our blanket up with it and put it on as a blanket pin. It's also got an awl built into it right here, and I'd like to do a little demonstration on punching a hole in leather with it for you as well. But it's kind of chilly out here today, and Iris is filming me, and she's not real warm. So what we're going to do first is we're going to try to get a fire started here. I've got my char tin here. It's already got char cloth in it. So let's get that opened up first. And I've got a little bit of bird nest material, a little bit of fire material here, and we'll get right back to you. Okay, so I've got my char tin opened up, and I've got a piece of white shirt here, and I've got my blanket pin out, my striker. I've got some dried grasses here that I'm going to use for my bird nest, and I've got a pocket full of old dried shavings right here that I got off of a vine right next to me. I'm going to go ahead and throw those inside this bird nest, and I've got a few sticks and things over here to use as well. So the first thing we need to do with this is we need to test it out and see how she sparks up. So I'm going to take a piece of this char cloth here and put it on top of this striker. And you can do this a couple different ways. You can either put your char cloth on top, or you can strike it right into your tin, whichever way you prefer. Sometimes I like to strike it into my tin because it increases the surface area. Whereas if you do it this way, you really have to get the sparks right on top of it. But that seems to work pretty well too. You can see that thing throws plenty of sparks. And there are char cloths on fire already. We got plenty of time. We'll set that aside over here for a minute, and we'll put our char cloth in our tinder bundle here. Okay. Alright, so now we got our fire started. We got our striker and our pin right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I got this leather belt right here. It's a little bit too big. I need to make another hole in it anyway. I'm going to take this awl, try to punch a hole in this leather belt, just to test it out to make sure it's as strong as I need it to be. I want to give myself a little bit of backing here. I'm just going to use this wool blanket for that. Set this belt up here. Take this all in my hand, and you pretty much can hold this thing by this handle, and it works pretty good that way. I just put it in my hand and drill down into this leather. There you go. Punched a hole right through that leather belt like it was nothing. Just waller that out a little bit. Should be good to go. So you got a good awl right there. If it'll punch through leather, it'll punch through any material. Now obviously we got a good fire striker. Now let's see if we can use this thing for a blanket pin. Take my hat off for this. Now what I usually do with these blankets, and I've done this a couple times on videos for you guys in the past, I just throw this thing around me and usually put it up over my head a little bit like this. Bring it around the front. And what I'll do at that point is I'll get a piece of rope I usually carry as a tump line like this one. Wrap it around the waist. Bent over. Just like this. And this has just got a loop tied in one end of it. Tie off the excess. And it doesn't matter if I wrap that thing around twice or not. This one just happens to have enough to do that. Now let's loop it off, just like this, and it'll be good to go. Now I've got this over top of my head. The purpose of this blanket pin is to make sure that I have a hood as well as a cloak. If I take this blanket pin, I just tuck this down over my head and bring this in front of me. The object here is to pin this together. So what I want to do is take this pin and drive it through this blanket and drive it through the other side of the blanket, just like this. And then I can either drive it through a double length of that blanket like this and just hook it over the top in this fashion. Kind of hard to do this sometimes when you're not looking in a mirror, but you'll get used to it. And you just have to slide this thing around. Just like this. Just like so. Then you've got your hands covered. You can pull this slack down inside this rope. Just like this. Then you can pull the hood up over your head while you're sitting in front of your campfire. That's almost out right now, but that's not a big deal. We can get that hooked right back up quick enough. Get it going. But so then you got your blanket pin as well. And there's a couple different ways you can use these blanket pins. This is just one quick way to get it on there. There's other ways that make it more stable that I can show you in other videos. It's pretty easy to pull right out. Doesn't mess up your wool blanket. Then you have a blanket pin, a striker, and an awl in one piece of equipment. So you have 3 pieces of equipment in one, which makes it multi-purpose. Now, I usually say that if I can do 3 things with a piece of equipment, then it makes it worth carrying. If I can't, then it's not worth carrying.
It's on.
Okay, so I'm Dave Canterbury from the Pathfinder School, and I appreciate your views and I appreciate your support. This new blanket pin, all in fire steel, will be available on our website at thepathfinderschoollc.com within the next couple weeks. I want to work with the maker. This is hand forged in the United States. I want to work with the maker to see what kind of quantities we can get on this before we put it up there. The retail price of this thing is probably going to be around the $25 range. Like I said, it is a handmade piece of forged steel made in the USA. Again, thank you for your support and thank you for your views.